Karen Bryant, Kenny Florian, Tyron Woodley, Chris Weidman, who looks to be in shock. I'm going to start with you on this one, sir. What a night.
This was insane. I am in a sense of shock right now. GSP just took 4 years off and went a weight class above to fight the champion. And he was a more comfortable fighter. Everyone was talking about ring rust, and he was going to have to take him down. He outstruck him. He was laying those right hands that we knew that was susceptible by watching the other videos. He was getting up when he was hitting the takedowns. He was keeping him down pretty good, even though Bisping was doing a good job from his back. At one point, it looked like Bisping was actually starting to come back, and GSP was slowing down. But GSP just showed that he is a true champion. What he just did is something that this will never happen again.
Well, what you see is you see the experience kick in, you see the IQ kicked in. When his body started to fatigue, when he started to feel a little bit tired, then he used his martial arts. He went back to his jab that worked for him. He didn't play in the game. Let's sit here and brawl and bang. He went to his takedown. He was patient. He found a way to seal the takedown, get him on the ground, pass to the half guard. As Michael Bisping started to come up, then he went back for it again. Amazing fight.
This was another three-pronged attack from Georges St-Pierre. He gets you worried about his striking. He mixes things up. And as soon as you start to adapt to his striking, he's in on your legs. And then it's not done after that. After he hits his takedowns, then he's working the ground game. He's tiring you out. He's getting his ground and pound going, and he's setting up a submission. This is just textbook Georges St-Pierre. And guess what? He is better than he was 4 years ago.
Which is absolutely frightening. Now, just moments ago, right behind us, George wasn't fully committal to the idea of staying at 185 pounds. Tyron might be looking good for you to see if he goes to 170. I know, Kenny, you weren't even sure he was going to come back and stay.
Yeah, exactly. You know, there was some talk about him maybe being doing one and then being done. But, you know, I don't know. Again, things change. Emotions get crazy when you fight in that octagon. And when you have performances like that, I mean, you start to believe, hey, listen, at 36, maybe I'm better than ever. And it looked like it.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm curious what stood out to you guys the most about his performance. Tyron, why don't I start with you on this one? What stood out to you the most about GSP?
Well, start me off because I'm trying to listen to what he's saying behind me. I'm trying to say, if you come in and get this at 170, or you sitting there going to say middleweight. What stood out to me in this was the experience. He was slowing down. He was slowing down, but what he did was he got his bearings back. He put himself back in a position to be successful. He went back to his takedowns. He went back to a Superman jab. He threw the unpredictable stuff out there, and he wanted to go out there to go for the takedown, and he did that. It wasn't easy keeping Michael Bisping down. He had to work very hard. He had 2 takedowns that he was successful in. Michael Bisping popped right back up, so he kept the mindset, kept the persistence, and he got him down where he needed to be.
This was not an easy fight for GSP, even though we've seen him. I think this might be the best we've ever seen. He was doing things I've never seen him do before in that first round. Coming over that jab with that right hand, that was pretty ridiculous. And the way he was setting up his takedowns was pretty much like what GSP does, but doing it against a bigger guy and being able to hold him down the way he did, it was hard to imagine it actually happening.
Absolutely incredible, guys. I want to talk about what Bisping was doing, though. We talked about the fact that George was likely to get him down. We know that that did, in fact, happen. But, Kenny, what did you see Michael doing well, at least, to get back up and stay in the fight?
Well, first of all, I thought he was doing a great job of using lateral movement. You know, DC was talking about this isn't your typical Michael Bisping who moves forward. If Michael Bisping was moving forward, he would have been taken down more often. I guarantee you that. That's where George gets his takedowns. It's off of the forward movement of his opponents. That's where he hits his reactive takedowns. And I thought Michael Bisping did a good job of confusing George a little bit. George really had to work to get his timing, and he had to use a lot of his striking. So he had to use a lot of his striking, and I think that frustrated George a little bit and kept him guessing a little bit as to when he was going to get on the legs of Bisping.
And Michael Bisping landed some powerful shots. And I agree with you. Had he been more offensive and pushed forward more, he would have got taken more. But what happened was Georges St-Pierre threat of the takedown really shut down the offense of Michael Bisping. He wasn't able to throw the combination as we normally see because he was frightened that he might get taken down. If you do not get up from the bottom, you will lose that round. I don't care how many elbows you land from the bottom, how wide he cut Georges St-Pierre up. If you on your back and you do not win by submission, you are losing that round.
Listen, Bisping came into this fight. Actually, no, Georges St-Pierre Pierre came in this fight saying that Bisping fears his wrestling, and we were talking about the mind games. I think he really got into Bisping's head. He got Bisping thinking that he had to be taken down to lose the fight. GSP was probably working his striking more than anybody could have ever imagined in this fight, knowing he's going against a bigger, stronger guy than he's ever faced. And to win the fight, he really has to dominate on his feet before he's able to actually hit takedowns.
And again, even in defeat, we got to talk about the toughness of Michael Bisping. He's just a gangster. You knew he wasn't going to tap. And that's why I know that this team definitely worked on getting a choke, because you get him in an arm lock, you get him in a leg lock, I guarantee you Michael Bisping would have let something break.
Yes.
He's just that kind of guy. He wouldn't have tapped. Rear naked choke, that's the beautiful thing about chokes. Doesn't matter how tough you are, you either go to sleep or you tap.
Yeah, and you see a lot of these younger fighters, you know, they want to switch stands, they want to do the spinning attacks. If you look at Demetrius Johnson, you look at Georges St. Pierre, these guys are masters at the basics. 1-1-2. The 1-2 combination is one of the most original punches you can throw. Georges St. Pierre mastered that. He feinted the jab, doubled it up, went 1-2 or went 1-1-2. The right hand still landed on the chin. It still shook him up. And now Bisping has to come forward. He has to pressure him, and it puts him in perfect position for the takedown.
Tyron, you nailed it. Good fundamentals never get old. They never go out of style. So everyone thinking, well, what Georges St. Pierre are we going to see? Doesn't matter. A great jab is always going to be a great jab. A great double leg is going to be a great double leg. A great 1-2 and a great rear naked choke is always going to work.
And Bisping was talking about the jab. Yeah. All he's going to do is jab, takedown, jab, takedown, jab, takedown. But you could not stop it. Yeah. The thing about it is a jab is not a significant strike, according to the way that they say a significant strike is deemed, but it was effective. It sets all your punches up.
And George sprinkled in a little spinning attacks there a little bit. You know?
I think give Bisping credit too. Even when he was getting taken down, though, the way he was dicing him up on his back, when he was finally able to get back to his feet later in that round, you thought GSP was on the downswing, and then somehow GSP just showed us who he is.
The experience kicked in.
Absolutely, folks. He is, as well, a champ now. One of 4 UFC fighters to win a title in 2 different weight classes. Now, Chris, I want to come back to you on this one because you are the 85er here at the desk. You know, George obviously looked good tonight and got it done against the champion. What do you think his chances are if he decided to stay in your weight class?
Listen, I have a lot of respect for GSP. What he just did tonight is unbelievable, but you did see a size difference. You did see where he was struggling to hold the guy down. That's what he's relied on a lot in his career. So I can't fault him to go back down to 170. The other thing we didn't really see come into account, the fact that he had to put 10 to 15 pounds on. How was he going to last over 5 rounds? At one point, it did kind of look like as if he was slowing down. So there's a lot of question marks still if 185 is the right division for him.
Well, and it's hard to tell, Tyron, if he was slowing down because of an adrenaline dump, or is it because he's carrying that extra weight around? What did you see when you saw George start to slow down? Did you see him press any kind of mental reset button in there to push through that?
I don't think it was that he's carrying the weight. A lot of people say he's carrying more weight. He just had to cut less weight. He's probably walking around normally what he normally weighed, 185, 190, something like that.
Well, he said he tried to put on like 10 pounds. Right?
Yeah, but sometimes, but if you can't transition that weight into power, it makes no sense for you to have it. It's just going to make you slower. But I think he was getting into the position. He was going for the takedown. Sometimes he was successful. Sometimes Bisping popped right back up. Also, he has not fought in 4 years. He might have been getting his time in. The sport is different now. There's more press conferences, more media, there's more drama into it. I think he got to his bearings. I think he took the time to reset, get back on his jab, and we saw a person hit a second gear. Every fighter is not able to do that, and he was able to do that in this fight.
Absolutely, and it's a mixed martial arts fight. There's a lot of energy that gets expended during a fight. He's doing takedowns, he's striking a lot. He stayed very busy with his volume. I didn't see that at all. I think Georges St. Pierre, maybe might have been breathing a little bit. It's a professional fight. That's what happens.